The villagers used to say, "Poverty has no friend and sorrow never knocks alone." That was the story of Amaka's life. Her father, a palm wine topper, died after falling from a tall tree. Her mother, too weak from grief, followed him soon after, and so little Amaka became an orphan. Her father's sister, her auntie Ngozi, took her in, but instead of love, she gave her nothing but anger. "Amaka," she would shout at her, "fetch water before the cock crows twice. Amaka, your hands are too slow. You lazy girl, can't you see other children have mothers to train them? Amaka, who will ever marry an orphan like you?" Amaka walked like a servant, sweeping, washing, cooking, but still her auntie's tongue was sharper than pepper. One hot afternoon, when the sun was so fierce, even the goat lay flat in the dust, Auntie Ngozi called Amaka. "Your time in my house is over," she said. "Tomorrow you will marry Chike." Amaka's heart jumped. "Who is Chike?" Her auntie smirked. "The poorest man in this village, a farmer with one old shirt and a hut that leaks. Nobody else wants you, so you should thank me." Amaka's lip trembled. "But auntie, I am still young. I want to go to school." "Shut your mouth," the auntie snapped. "Do you want to rot in my house? Marry him you will." That night, Amaka wept until her wrapper was wet with tears. She dreamed of books, laughter, friendship, but life gave her a poor husband instead. The wedding was small, pitiful even, no drums, no dancers, just a few old women clapping hands. Chike wore a faded shirt with one missing button, patched trousers and sandals tied with rope. The villagers laughed and whispered loudly, "See the orphan girl marrying poverty itself. They will eat garri with no sugar until they die. What a useless pair." Amaka lowered her eyes. She had no parents to defend her, no family to bless her. She followed Chike quietly, her heart heavy as stone. Chike's hut sat at the very edge of the village. Its roof leaked whenever rain fell. Its floor was bare earth. There was no bed, only a raffia mat. Amaka wanted to cry, but Chike looked at her gently. "Do not worry," he said. "It is not much, but it is ours." His voice was soft, unlike her auntie's. Something about it gave her a tiny spark of comfort. She cooked the little yam they had, swept the hut, washed the old plates. Still, she did not complain. "You are not angry?" Chike asked one evening. Amaka shook her head. "Anger cannot change my fate. I will endure." Chike only nodded, but his eyes shone with hidden meaning. Then came the night of the full moon. "Wake up," Chike whispered, shaking her shoulder. "Follow me." Amaka obeyed, though her heart pounded. They walked into the forest, crickets chirping, the air cool with mystery. At last they reached the massive iron gate, hidden among vines, silent and dark. Pom pom pom, Chike knocked 3 times. The gate rumbled, the vines peeled back, light spilled through, the ground trembled. Inside lay a golden world, mansions, cars, servants bowing low. Amaka's knees shook. "Chike, who are you?" He smiled. "I am not the pauper they see. I am a billionaire in hidden. I wanted a woman who would love me, not my riches, and you, Amaka, have passed the test." Amaka's leg almost gave way as she stepped inside. The ground beneath her was no longer dusty red earth. It was smooth marble, shining under bright lights. She clutched her wrappers tightly, eyes darting from the sleek cars lined up like goats in a rich man's compound to the wide mansion that stretched higher than any iloko tree she had ever seen. Servants in neat Isiagu tops and wrappers bowed low. "Welcome, sir," they chorused, their voices echoing. Amaka whispered, her voice trembling, "Chike, this cannot be real. Yesterday we were in a leaking hut, and today this." Chike turned to her, his face calm. "It is real, Amaka. The hurt you saw was a test. The poverty you endured with me was a test. I have wealth beyond counting, but I needed a wife who would see the man before the money. And you, Amaka, have shown me that kind of heart." Tears rolled down Amaka's cheek. She thought of all the mocking voices in the village, of her aunt who had spat groundnut shells at her and said no man of value would ever want her. And here she was, standing before riches greater than any chief in 10 villages. The days that followed were like dreams. Amaka no longer cooked with a smoking fire. Now she ate jollof rice, goat meat, egusi soup with fufu, and fruits brought fresh to her table. She wore fine wrappers of george and lace, her hair braided with coral beads. When she rode in Chike's shiny jeep back into the village, the dust rose behind them like a storm. The same villagers who once laughed now knelt and greeted. "Nwanyoma, beautiful woman, welcome." Her aunt came running, pretending to smile. "Ah, my dear Amaka, my daughter. How I have missed you. I always knew you would shine one day." Amaka looked at her and said only, "Auntie, poverty is not shame. What is shameful is wickedness to the helpless." The woman bent her head, unable to answer. Yet, as the elders say, when the yam tuber grows fast, the knife grows sharper. Wealth does not only attract praise, it attracts enemies. One night, as Amaka walked through the wide hall of the mansion, she heard whispers. Servants were murmuring about strangers who asked too many questions. Some said Chike's hidden fortune had enemies, people who once tried to destroy him, which was why he lived quietly as a poor man in the village. Amaka's heart beat fast. "So this wealth is also come with danger?" she asked Chike. He nodded slowly. "Yes, my dear. The world of riches is not as peaceful as the world of poverty, but together we will stand." The moon was high when Amaka woke to the sound of drums in the distance. They were not the happy drums of festival. They were heavy, slow, warning drums. She slipped out of the bed and looked through the window of the mansion. At the edge of the compound, shadows moved. Men were standing in the forest, their shapes tall and threatening. Chike appeared beside her silently. "You see them?" he asked. "Yes," Amaka whispered, clutching her chest. "Who are they?" Chike's face hardened. "They are the ones I hid from. Greedy men. They wanted to kill me and take my father's fortune. That is why I live in poverty, so no one will know, but now they have discovered my return." Amaka's stomach turned cold. She had thought wealth would mean safety, but now she saw the truth. It was a crown heavy with danger. The next morning, Chike gathered his household, elders who worked for him, loyal servants, guards dressed in traditional Itiagu with red cap and spears. He spoke firmly. "The enemies are close. They think I am still hiding. But now I have my wife beside me. We will not run again." Amaka stood at his side, quiet but strong. In her heart, she prayed, "Chim, give me courage. Do not let poverty's tears be replaced with wealth's blood." Later that day, the men from the forest entered boldly. They wore dark wrappers, their foreheads painted with white chalk, their leader carrying a staff. "So, Chike, you thought you could hide forever? The wealth of your father should belong to us. Hand it over, or you and your woman will regret it." Amaka trembled, but Chike stood tall. "I have nothing for thieves. This fortune is mine by right, and you will not touch it." The men laughed, but Amaka suddenly stepped forward, her small figure in a wrapper, her head high, her voice sharp as a blade. "Shame on you," she cried. "When this man lived in poverty, none of you wanted him. You mocked him, called him useless, but now that he stands strong, you come like vultures to see. Are you not ashamed?" Her words cut through the air. The servants shouted in agreement. Some villagers who had gathered at the gate clapped and cheered. The enemies grew listless. Their leader frowned. "You are bold, woman, but boldness will not save you." Chike raised his hand, and suddenly drums thundered. From the mansion, his guards poured out, strong men with matches gleaming. Behind them, villagers loyal to Amaka rushed forward, armed with sticks and stones. The enemies, seeing they were outnumbered, hissed and retreated into the forest, promising to return. That night, the compound was alive with relief. Fire were lit, food was cooked, songs were sung. Amaka sat quietly by Chike, her heart swelling. "You were brave," Chike told her, smiling. "I only spoke the truth," Amaka said. "But I have learned something today." "What is that?" he asked. "That wealth is not only blessing, it is a war you must keep fighting." Chike nodded slowly, for he knew her words were true. The days passed, and though the enemies hissed in shadows, none dared to challenge Chike and Amaka again. The people of the land began to speak, not about his riches, but about her courage. They said, "It was not Chike's money that saved the mansion, it was Amaka's voice." When women quarrel in the market, elders will say, "Speak like Amaka, let your truth scatter lies." When young girls complain of poverty, their mothers reminded them, was Amaka not once poor? Was she not mocked? Yet today she walked with her head high. What lifted her was patience and kindness, and when proud men boasted of wealth, the elders shook their heads. Remember, Chike had riches but tested hearts. Without Amaka's humility, his fortune would still be hidden in the bush. Amaka herself never forgot where she came from. Though she now lives in a mansion, she visits the poor, orphans and widows. She told them, "Do not despise yourself because of today's hunger. Tomorrow's yam may be fat. Poverty is not a curse, but wickedness is. Wealth is not the true measure of greatness. Kindness and courage are richer than gold. Mock no one in poverty. A woman's voice can change destiny. Strength is not only in muscles, but in truth spoken with boldness. As the Igbo say, a good name is better than riches, and wisdom is wealth that thieves cannot steal." And so, Amaka became a living proverb. Her name spoken whenever an orphan lifted her head, whenever a poor girl dreamed beyond her suffering. Amaka, the orphan who became the symbol of wisdom and strength in all Igbo land.